Hello again. Hey, Fireagatemark here. I'm looking down in my bin at some stuff that needs to be carved into, and let me see here. So these are windowed stones. The top of it is taken off. You can see I've got a bunch of these high grade windows. I'll put some of these up, and then we'll get a link up to these. Where most of the work is already done, this kind of gives you an outline and an idea of what you have to work with. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to try something out. I got this really nice surprise package. This gift from Roy's Rocks. He's has an amazing channel, lots of stuff. If you want to figure out how to carve opal, then he's got some great videos. Let's see, 200, 400, 800, and 1500 grit. And he gave me these to try out. So let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try coming in with a 200 grit bit to see how aggressive it is. What it's this composite, and then it's embedded with your cutting material, whether it be diamond, cerium oxide, tin oxide, zirconia, all sorts of different materials that gets used for this. But I do believe these are diamond impregnated. I'm excited to give them a try. I'm excited to try it out on some really nice fire agate and see if we can bring out some more color. All right, let's give her a shot. All right, so one thing I did notice is it's the larger bit. I think this is 3.5 millimeter instead of 2.35 millimeter. So I had to put it on a different handle with the chuck. But that's okay. If it's effective, then it's worth it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dress the bit, because if you'll notice, there's a little bit of a lip when they're brand new, like this. It's got a ridge, and you don't want that ridge to wear into the stone. So I'm just going to use a little, this is 250? Yeah, 250 grit sandpaper, or 150. Yeah, I'll use a little 150. Done. And let's see. There we go. There's no significant ridge anymore. There's a little bit of a ridge, but it's insignificant at this point. What I do is I want to have good water coverage. I have the bit. And I'm slowly just grinding away wherever it's brown, making sure that I don't wear on that first purple layer. So I want to stay off the middle. I want to work the valley here and across here so that I can get back down into the color. I can hear it now. It's a very effective cutter. Seems to have quite a bit of diamond in the bit. You don't want these to run dry, and you want to do it with light. This is also very important. What I try to do when I'm working is use the whole shaft so it doesn't wear unevenly. So just kind of be aware of that as you carve. Help it to wear evenly. It'll make it last longer. I'm probably only using about 2 to 3 ounces of pressure. Probably only about 6,000 to 8,000 RPM speed. And this gives you a general idea. I'm going to continue doing this, working with it, and checking it periodically to see how the color is coming. But that's just a really quick impression of what the bit is doing. So you can see that purple is becoming more defined up here on the lip. That's very quick, and even bringing out some of that green. So I want to get past that orange into the purple. That's the whole goal. And make sure you're working with light and have it stay on. We'll come back and finish that up once I get that fixed. They seem to grip more than the Diamond Pacific Nova points that they seem to be modeled after. So far I'm really digging these. The difference in colors when you're going down really is just a fraction of a millimeter, so you want to take it slow and easy. You want to check your progress as you go. And there's lots of stones where I carved them, I thought they were done, and then a few years later I thought I can go deeper. And this is a good point, this is a good tool for that, because you can go deeper, but you're only progressing slowly into it. I'm not bearing down on this point, I'm not trying to rip into the material. I'm just letting the tool do the work. And trying to achieve that. Oh, interesting. There's a perfect vibration that you get when you're carving. You can kind of hear the rock sing. Vibration in the stone. I've noticed that's when it's really effective. Well, it's definitely making progress. Let's see if we zoom in a bit. So, from what I'm seeing, let's see if we can get a pointer. There's still this edge back here with the brown, but this stuff I want to stay off of as much as possible. I might go deeper here and here. So just on the outside ridges, but I really don't want to touch the middle, otherwise I could blow through that purple, and that would be a travesty. So you can kind of rock the stone that you're working on and get it to bend to the angle that you're looking for. Alright. Well, she's working beautifully. I'm going to continue. So far, I'm extremely pleased with these bits. I'm just going to put this one really quickly out as a short, and then I'll just continue following up with this, and I'll show you the finished piece. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't yet, please click subscribe and like, It helps us a great deal, and we're very grateful for all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you to Roy's Rocks. Thank you, Michael, for facilitating the whole thing, and I hope you have a beautiful night. Take care. All right. So I've dried the stone off. I want to see if you might be able to see with me right here. You can see that little bit of a divot that I'm creating. This is exactly what I want to go for. That's probably a 1/10 of a millimeter. So I want to follow that line up along this line and along the back ridge. Once it gets wet, you'll be able to see it better. But sometimes it's good to dry the stone out in between. It gives you a better idea of what you're looking at. You can see the color better with the water, but definition is easier to see when it's dry. So I decided I didn't want to be done. I wanted to carve a little more, so let's do that. There we go. Bear with me. Alright, I think I'm going to switch grits really quick. Alright, I've realized that I've got to go a tiny bit deeper right up against that edge, or the color's just not coming out. So I'm going to use a fine sintered burr just to kind of define that valley a little better. And then I can use the grinding bits, the sanding bits from Roy, and I'll use those to kind of blend the colors. But right now I just need a more defined ridge. And I don't want to burn up the bits. You got to use the right tool for the right job. These inverted cones, these come from Verancor. I'll put a link to syntecinc.com. They're a distributor and they have pretty much every variety, all the different cones, all the different bullet points. Once I get a link from Roy, I'll put those up. If for the meantime you're looking for something, I'll also put up a link for Kingsley North. They've got an assortment of all the Nova points in the various grits. For this, I'm probably using 2 to 3 ounces of pressure and 7 to 8,000 RPM, ideally, of speed. As far as following the contours, I'm doing that so that the color is visible from multi-directional instead of just positional. If you carve only one face of the stone, if you carve it flat, then it's really, it's usually only visible from 1 or 2 different directions. If you follow the contours, it usually makes it more omnidirectional. All right. I think I'm to a point where I'm ready to switch out and then kind of clean up my work. I am just going to round out the outside with a center burr. It'll make it easier. I do have 2 different air purifiers going right now, so please be careful, watch your lungs, wear a mask, use protection. I know this burr is coarse, but I'm defining the very last part, the end of the stone, so I don't mind being a little more aggressive with it. Again, with defining the outside, that usually happens when you're at least 80% of the way done with the stone, with the top half. That way you know what you're willing to sacrifice, what needs to be cut away. All right. Let's switch back out. I have to dress this bit really quick. Dressing the bit, meaning to remove any burrs or any, when it was poured in the mold, it'll have a little lip. You don't want that on there. So basically now I'm just smoothing out the stone. until the stone gets broken in a little bit. It will be a super aggressive cutter, but that's good because I'm trying to blend all those ridges that I've created to make them look more fluid instead of sharp. Oh yeah. All right. I think that's the color I like. That's the color I'm going to go for. You always want to stop just a little bit short of what you're going for so that when you're done carving the stone and it's polished, you haven't gone too far and blown through the color. So I may as well just go ahead and finish this stone. Let's take care of the little bit of sawing off. Alright, so it might not look too much different from what it did look like before, except if you look, you can see a little bit of a ridge at the top and there on the side. And it's not much of a divot. It's, like I said, it's a fraction of a millimeter, but that little bit of a divot on all those edges, that helps the color in the middle of the valley to be a lot brighter, and it just makes the stone pop more. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some cutting done. Bear with me. A couple of different fans. Sorry it gets loud. Take two. Alright, those discs don't last forever. That's why they come in 10 packs. That's why you just get a good hold on it, but they honestly, they won't really do much. You can see it's not even cutting through my rubber glove. As long as you don't bear down on your finger, you're fine. So, my favorite little screwdriver, trusty, and look, pop, ha 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 ha, pop, ha ha, look at that. I only have that to cut off. That'll be a lot easier. Okie dokie. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. Yay! Alright, and I still have all 9 fingers left, so don't worry. And you'll see, there we go. Ideally, it's easier to use a flat lap to finish the bottom and the sides, but since I don't have a flat lap, I'm going to use my wheels briefly and just give it a quick little finish. Alright, let's get the sides. And what I want is I want to bevel. So I want to create a little bit of an angle outward. So if somebody has to set it into jewelry, it'll be a lot easier. Sorry for the noise. Gloves are not ideal. Alright, so that gets the edges off rather quickly. Get the back even. You can use 5 or 6 pounds of pressure for this. You can bear down. Just make sure you got plenty of water. That gives you your nice flat finish. I love when it's got a little eye at the back too. So let's see, we've got one little lip here. The color doesn't come around all the way at the top, so I'm just going to round that out and get rid of it now with a coarse wheel. Save us some work. And problem solved. All right. All right. Look at that, perfect little eyeball stone. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish it up really quick and then give it a polish. Alright, so one of my favorite tricks with finishing a stone is some plain old wet dry sandpaper. This is 150 grit. Just kind of rough it up. It brings it all to a uniform finish. You can kind of work on the sides. This helps kind of soften those edges so they're not too sharp or getting caught on anything. And this is just basic 3M sanding paper, nothing special. I like to have every grit because some stones are weird shaped and I like to finish them by hand. And I have some wet dry sandpaper up to 8,000 grit. After 8,000 grit, after 5,000 grit it looks like glass. After 8,000 grit it's pretty much done. This really does save a lot of time because it's gonna even everything out. I'm trying to make sure there's no scratches or tool marks, so I go in the same direction. And the sandpaper kind of wears down as we go, so might start off at 150, but it's cutting at more like 400 grit by the time we're done. It's a lot better so far. Let's turn that off. Alright, I'm going to try one other thing that I've been excited to give a shot to. These abrasive bits I got online, there's an assortment. Got a big giant kit of them, and they're not labeled, they don't say which one is which grit, but I figured I'm going to take a little stab at it and start with green. It's a lot like 3M sandpaper, and they're really rapid. Actually, this is nice. They really weren't very expensive either. Oh, shucks. That's pretty much ready for polish. I could switch over to a finer one, but I'm just going to really quickly touch up the edges, and for this I'm going to go ahead and use a Diaflex. I'm cheating, trying to speed this along so I could cram it all into one video. So I'm gonna really quick hit it with the Diathin. You can see there's still a ridge here. I think I'll go ahead and switch back to, let's see, I'm going to try out the 1500 grit next. I'm only using about, let's see, 2 to 3 ounces of pressure and probably operating at about 4,000 to 5,000 RPM. Nice and slow. I barely want to blend it. I don't really, not looking to remove material so much as get it to meet up in a little bit more smooth fashion. More smooth. Here we go. Yeah. Let's see. Well, that was fast. So I'm really liking these bits. Thanks again to Roy's Rocks. Thanks again to Michael for facilitating everything. My goodness, very fast. I have created a little divot here that I got to get rid of. Alright, I think it's ready for polish. Alright, let's give her a quick polish and see what we got. These are soft felt burs wheels. You can find these and other bits on Kingsley North. I'll put the link below. Check them out. They have everything from lapidary supplies, these little grinding bits, the full-blown cabbing machines, table saws, band saws. They have torches, silver, gold, jewelry making supplies, finished stones, rough lapidary. We've got quite the selection. You kind of want to chase your polish down the stone, move it around and bring it back. I'm creating this little flow pattern here. If you go high speed, you just want to lighten your pressure and make sure you keep the bit moving so it doesn't rest in one spot for too long, or it'll heat up and cook your stone and mess with the polish. It's good to warm up the stone a little bit It kind of opens up the pores to allow any polish in. Give you that nice glassy finish. Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, so it's definitely a rush job. I just wanted to show how quickly I could finish it, so I still have to clean off the polish, finish up the sides a little bit more, and she's pretty much done. So yep, this is how easy it is to work with windowed stones. I'll be getting some more up on our eBay site. I'll post a link below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful night. Take care. I love you, Amber J. Alright, y'all have fun.